Just a few days ago, the third wave of the Booster Course Pass released, and I have to say, this is the absolute best product Nintendo's put out since Dylan's Dead Heat Breakers. I can absolutely not wait to see how the following 3 waves will top this. Being such a massive fan of the Nintendo Switch exclusive Mario Kart 8 and its newly released DLC, I naturally couldn't pass on an opportunity to give my predictions for the remaining courses. But before jumping into my predictions, I thought it would be best to go back to my previous videos and correct my older predictions. As for my first video, based on pretty much no information, I was somehow able to correctly guess Maple Treeway in the exact position in the Rock Cup. I also correctly guessed Berlin Byways, however I put that in the Rock Cup instead of Moon. I was also right on the money about the last track of the Moon Cup being a Rainbow Road course, but I got the game wrong. Outside of Wave 3, I also correctly guessed Rock Mountain, Peach Gardens, which I'm kinda proud of considering it wasn't even in Tour. At the time at least, I don't know if it's in it now. And 3DS Rainbow Road, which I included as my final track. The only track I completely omitted was GBA Boo Lake, but I did include SNES Ghost Valley 1, which is literally the same thing anyway. Honestly, I think I did surprisingly well with that video, all things considered. For my second video, well, I did use leaks for it, so while my predictions were technically better, I felt like I did a better job with the first video, to be honest. I correctly guessed London Loop and 3DS Rainbow Road in their exact positions and Maple Treeway, but for a different cup entirely. I did also get Rock Mountain correct, but I think it's very interesting to note that the leaks I was basing my entire predictions on in my previous video are now proven to be completely incorrect. The positioning of the DS, GBA, and 3DS tracks were changed, the GameCube track was removed, and a Wii track was included instead. I'm not going to say those leaks were wrong, as they were accurate with Wave 2. I just think they were outdated and have changed over time because they weren't completely finalized, which definitely goes to explain why there were so many blank courses. So unfortunately, I can't use this as a template anymore. Anyway, shockingly enough for my third video, I was able to correctly guess all but 1 tracks in their exact placements. How about that? Anyway, I think that's enough of that. Let's move on to the predictions of the remaining courses. First is Wave 4's Fruit Cup. The Tour City track should be Singapore Speedway, and then we have SNES Cooper Beach 1, DS Delfino Square, and GCN Wario Coliseum. For the Boomerang Cup, we have Tour Bangkok Rush, Wii Toad's Factory, GBA Bowser Castle 5, and N64 Wario Stadium. Next up is Wave 5. For the Feather City track, I've decided to go with Sydney Sprint. Next is 3DS Wario Shipyard, GameCube Waluigi Stadium, and DS Wario Stadium. Next is the Cherry Cup, Tour Damascus Drive-Thru, GCN Daisy Cruiser, N64 Jungle Falls, and finally, we'll cap it off with GCN Daisy Cruiser. And for the final wave set to release in 2024, Wave 6, for the Acorn Cup, I've decided to go with Tour Kabul Racetrack, PS2 Inferno Island. Next I have to mention, it's really strange how so far, with the 24 total tracks that have already been released, not a single one is from the Wii U game. So I think it's fair to include a couple Wii U tracks for this final wave. For Acorn, I put in Wii U Water Park. And for the final track of the Acorn Cup, I think it'd be nice to give Nintendo a little break. They deserve it. This cup will actually only contain 3 tracks. And finally, for the very last cup, the Spinny Shell Cup, we have Tour Pyongyang Parking Spot, GCN Swamp, Wii U Race of Ages, and finally, the very last course. I think we all know what this should be. The fan favorite track of the entire series, the track that defines what Mario Kart is. The perfect way to cap off this DLC expansion is with the masterpiece that is Merry Mountain.